MSNBC host Joy Reid inviting Republican Congressman Byron Donalds on her show to make his nomination for House Speaker about race.
Do you not believe that the idea was to make a diversity statement by nominating him?
Well, actually, first, that was not the idea, because I was in the room when the decision was made by people who chose to nominate me. The reality is that a lot of members actually do believe in my ability to lead. They do.
District Media Group President Beverly Hallberg joins us now. Beverly, what's Joy Reid really trying to do here?
Oh, well, she's trying to put down any minority who decides to align himself or herself with the Republican Party. It shines a spotlight on what many minority Republicans have to face, and that is condemnation by the left and also those in the media who think that it's just absurd that they would align themselves with this party. And look, there's also the double standard. Here she is questioning whether or not he has the ability to be in leadership, considering he's only been in Congress for one term. But when Barack Obama was in the Senate for only one term and was nominated and, of course, elected as president, he had glowing reports about that. Never once did the left say, well, he just is being used because of his minority status. So there's a huge double standard, and unfortunately, this is what a lot of minority Republicans face.
Yeah, it couldn't be about merit. It had to be about skin tone, which I think is just so insulting. Would you say the same thing about Hakeem Jeffries? Is he a minority hire or elevation of status?
Well, this is what so many minorities face, again, within the Republican Party, is they're not looked to, as you just said, their merit. They're looked to as somebody who is a pawn, and that is so insulting to many Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans who take a look at the Republican Party and say, this is the party that actually encourages opportunity, not just for myself and my family, but for Americans all across this country. And it's sad that people are so divisive. I think we should look at Americans as free to decide what they think is the American dream for them, what is the best path for them. But sadly, if you are a minority in the Republican Party, this is the uphill battle that you're going to have to face with the media.
And there's also the irony of all this, where Joy Reid is actually insulting the support of diversity at all costs that she espouses, or at least has espoused for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So again, irony not lost on me, was lost on Miss Reid. Meantime, Prince Harry joining the Late Show with Stephen Colbert to talk about his explosive new tell-all book and, you know, take some shots. Watch.
Would you like a cocktail before we begin?
Yes, please.
I hear you like tequila. Good. Now,
Yes.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
Look, I think this is part of something bigger. The left's desire to tear down tradition. Because Stephen Colbert isn't grilling him on tough questions. He's taking tequila shots with lime. So what's your take on this? Why does the left seem to hate tradition, whether it's Christmas or, in this case, the royal family?
Yeah, they really do want to tear down any type of norm, any type of tradition, not only that we have as Americans, but now the royal family as well. And I think it's quite interesting that you have Prince Harry taking shots when his book, a big chunk of it is about his struggle with drugs and alcohol use. And here he is making light of it all. And so we've really gone from Prince Harry wanting to go around and share, quote, his story and supposedly serious style interviews to now straight up taking his narrative to comedic late night TV. I think a lot of people are going to view this as very distasteful, especially since so many of his accusations are against his brother and against the royal family. He's trashing them not only publicly, but also now laughing about it all.
Yeah, I didn't see this interview as particularly political, although Harry and Meghan certainly are. I just think it's a sad look at where they are in terms of their family life. And he's been airing out all the dirty laundry, you know, the infighting and his relationship with Will and his father have crumbled, and he's giving all these dirty details, but at the same time, he's saying he wants nothing more than to have them back in his life. And he's surely got a funny way of showing it.
Yeah, how can you want your family back in your life, and how could they ever trust you again when he actually shared private text messages between his sister-in-law, Kate Middleton, and as well as his wife? And so there's no conversation that can be had when you can't trust him. And I find even some criticism that he's gotten from this interview, he claims that that's all spin, that he's taken out of context. What you find from Harry and Meghan, zero lack of accountability for anything that they have done. I think what they truly represent is victim culture in society. society. I think it's sad, and I don't think it helps people move past problems they may have had in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. During the Oprah interview, Meghan Markle said that one member of the royal family was concerned about the color of their child's skin. And then Harry now is saying that they never accused the royal family of racism and that the media blew it out of proportion. When the media just printed exactly Meghan's words, word for word, you can't blame that on the media. So a lack of accountability there as well. Beverly, thank you for joining us.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.